Hi Homeworthy, I'm Rachel. Welcome to my home in Winona, New Jersey. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
I'm Rachel McCalley and I live in Winona, New Jersey. I'm a kindergarten reading teacher and I'm also a photographer and a thrifter. We have lived here just about 9 years. It'll be 9 years next month. And we've actually lived in this town for about 20 years. We moved here in 2004 and we lived in a small brick rancher that was just about 4 blocks away. And we lived there for 12 years and we loved it. We had all of our children there. But before we had kids, we would ride our bikes past this house and I would tell my husband, like, slow down, slow down. Let's look at that house. I love it so much. And I truly believe that I manifested this house for us because we loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved the porch. I saw us having a family here. I saw our kids here. I saw, my kids going to prom and taking pictures outside. I saw just our life actually being played out right before us. So it sounds a little cheesy, but it's true. And this house went up for sale and we jumped on it. And so here we are. Welcome to the parlor. So when we moved in, the bottom cabinets were here and I believe they were cream or white. And I just knew that these empty sides were just screaming for more shelving. So we had a carpenter come and build these shelves for us that go almost all the way up to the top. We have 12-foot ceilings in our house. So the whole downstairs has 12-foot ceilings in this beautiful molding that I love and didn't want to touch. So we had these shelves put in and now they display all of my favorite things. So my father is also a photographer and gave me all of his antique cameras. So those are displayed here. And let's see, we also call this the music room. We have a lot of musically inclined people in my family, not me, but everybody else is. So we have some musical instruments in this room and some artifacts that I have up here on the shelves. We have family photos that I love. This is a picture of my husband's grandmother, who I loved, Nanny. And this is my mother-in-law here. And I just love this picture. It just reminds me, she looks like a movie star sitting on a park bench in Central Park. But I just love this picture, so we keep this in here. We also have a record player here that I got for my husband's 40th birthday. And then over the years, he's either taken records from his dad's house or I've thrifted them and we've built up quite a collection. If you come in here any time of the day, you might hear a record on, most likely Stevie Wonder, my favorite, or Otis Redding. We love to sit in here at night, especially in the winter months when it's cold, and play records, have a cocktail. We have the fire going, and it's just a really cozy room, and I think the black built-ins have really grounded the space and also drawn your eye up so you could really appreciate the height of the room. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the fireplace because I recently learned that this is a cast iron fireplace that was painted to look like marble. So it's faux painted marble. And apparently this was really big in Victorian times. And I love the black and it has some brown swirling throughout it. It was converted to gas. I'm not sure when, but it's so nice to just click a button and have a fire. We really appreciate that. And so this was my inspiration for using the black built-ins in here and then also throughout the house to have those black pieces to kind of ground the space. On this side, we have a little mini bar, which makes it convenient, like I said, for cocktails. And then just some more pieces that we love. These are silhouettes of my 3 children when they were little. This is a picture of my grandfather next to his car. I don't know when this was taken, but I just love this little picture of him. And he loved racehorses. He had a few over the years, and when he passed, my mom gave me this little ceramic horse of his, so I put that in that cloche so I could remember him with his picture next to it. More antique cameras, and then I don't know if you can see up there, that's my husband's great-grandfather. He used to play the accordion, so he was in a big band, and then that's a picture of him by himself with his accordion. So this piano over here is an antique from my grandparents' house. When my aunt was moving, they didn't want it anymore. No one else wanted it, actually. So my husband and I rented a U-Haul and drove to their house in Maryland, a few hours away, to go pick it up. And we absolutely love it. All 3 of my kids have taken piano lessons on it. One of these days I'm going to take lessons, I swear to it. But in the summer, I love to decorate it with family photos, especially, like I said, at the beach. And at Christmas, I display all of my kids' Santa photos that are always so fun to look at. We also have some guitars in here. My son plays the guitar and my daughter's ukulele. The bottom of the built-ins, I have lots of photo albums. We'll take those out and look through them whenever we can. My husband is a drummer and has been since he was really young. So you'll see throughout the house we have bongos. Upstairs in his office he has his drum set. And our coffee table, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do in here, but I ended up finding a piece that is kind of modern, but I like, that it's the opposite of everything else in here. That's antique. And it's just a great place for us to do puzzles in the winter, but also to display some of our favorite things. So right now, we're set for summer. This is a big shell bowl filled with all the shells that we've collected on family vacations. And I like to keep little boxes to hide things, like I said, remotes and things like that. So this is how I have it displayed right now, but it will change constantly, probably every month. In this room, one of my favorite things is this chandelier. When we moved in, it was just like a basic brass chandelier. It was pretty, but I felt like it needed something else in here. So we found this at an antique store down at the Jersey Shore, down near Cape May. This is a Moroccan pierced metal lantern. And I just love the way that it casts the light in this room. We usually have it dimmed, and it just looks so beautiful at night, the way it reflects off the walls. But this was a nice piece, and I thought it added a little unexpected charm to this room. Like I said, my style is very traditional, classic. I love leather, I love dark wood, and so this couch is just a leather sofa that we picked up probably 20-ish years ago. It's held up great, it's classic. The older it gets, the better, and it's super comfy. Over here I have an antique lamp that I found, and this black shade. I love black shades, and I love when they have the gold inside, because I feel like it really makes a beautiful golden glow at night. And then these are 2 of my favorite chairs. I get asked often about these chairs on Instagram, either about where I got them or where I got the fabric. And it's kind of funny because I bought them about 20 years ago online at JCPenney's. But they are in my favorite fabric, which is houndstooth. And I feel like I'm gonna have them for the next 30 plus years because they're just classic. I love the low profile, so you can still see the built-ins and all the fun things that we have in here. And they're just very cozy and small, perfect for gathering in here. And like I said, enjoying a little drink with friends. So I went to our historical society and found a map that had our house on it. This was the oldest map that actually had our house on it from 1886. And I asked the president at the time of our historical society for a copy of the map took it to Staples and then had them blow it up, and I had them do it in color so you could see, you know, the old patina on the map, and then had it framed and hung it over the piano so that you could see it when you walk in. All right, let's go into the family room. So here we are in the family room. This is where we spend most of our time as a family together, watching TV or movies. So I wanted this room to be really comfortable, kind of like a deep exhale when, you know, we can all be together as a family. So I found these sofa and love seat that where I chose fabric for them that is linen, and it's that really, you know, comfy, cozy, gets better with time linen that's super easy to wash and great for kids and a dog. So that's been awesome to have that. And my husband, another gift besides the record player for his 40th birthday is this recliner. What I love about it is it doesn't look like a recliner, but he's able to kick back, relax, and watch the game. And it's still like a nice profile and small enough to fit in this room. The lighting in here, I prefer lamps, but I also do love this antique light that was here when we bought the house. It had milk glass shades, but I took them off because I really like the look of just the open Einstein bulbs and that glow that they give off without the shades. One of my favorite things about this room is the bay window. And bay windows are pretty typical of that Italianate Victorian style. So you can see that has this beautiful arch. The first year we moved in here, we hardly had any furniture, so we got the biggest Christmas tree we could find, and we put it right here in this window, and it was so beautiful. But like I said, maybe we had a chair, so it worked out great. My kids would sock skate around it like Charlie Brown. Since then, we've had to get more furniture for our family of 5 and our pup, so we've had to move some things around. We now put our tree in that corner, but I love to showcase this window. I really don't think I'll ever put curtains on these windows because I love the natural light that comes through. And my favorite thing is to sit right here in the morning and have a cup of coffee. The light just comes streaming in, and it's just such a great way to wake up each day. Over here, I have a small gallery wall that I've been adding to over the years. Some of my favorite pieces are hanging here that I've collected. Everything is secondhand again. I found it's an antique store, the same one where I got our Moroccan lanterns, and different thrift stores around us. These pieces, these are actually a set of 4, and they're etchings done by Lionel Barrymore. And just a quick little aside, my favorite movie in the whole world is It's a Wonderful Life. And so when I found these pictures and I saw they were signed by Lionel Barrymore, I thought, I wonder if that's the same actor that was in the movie It's a Wonderful Life, Mr. Potter. So I did a quick Google search in the thrift store, and it turns out it is. He was an amazing artist. And so when he wasn't acting, when he wasn't working, he would draw and create beautiful art in his spare time. So there's this beautiful set of 4 images that all are around ships and marinas. This one's little boatyard in Venice, quiet waters, and I just think they're so beautiful, and I feel so lucky to find the complete set, especially that had such a connection to the movie that I love. I call it the accidental nautical wall because I didn't mean for them all to be, you know, relating to ships and to the sea, but that's just how it turned out. The bottom picture down here isn't the ocean. It looks like a lake, but it reminded me of Lake Bomoseen, where we've been vacationing every summer for the last 6 years. And this is exactly the view that you see when you get to the lake and you're sitting in the cottage. And it looked just like that. So I got that piece because it reminded me of our family vacations there. Over our gallery wall and over our art here, we have these picture lights that are actually battery operated. Again, with plaster, it's just, you know, it's super tricky to put anything in the walls, and if you make a mistake, things just start to crumble. So we found these battery operated lights so we don't have to run electric, and again they just turn on with a dimmer, with the remote. Then we can actually dim them at night and turn them off when we don't need them anymore. I chose a round coffee table for this space. I just thought that it fit well. We usually have Stella's big dog bed over there, but again, just like our parlor coffee table, I usually fill it with things that are seasonal, collected. I have coffee table books, and then this is a conch shell that we just got on our recent family vacation to Turks and Caicos. So we got 2 shells. My kids actually picked them up off of the beach. So they are real, legit, not bought at a market, and we thought we had to bring those home, wash them up, and display them. So we have this big jar of dominoes. When my kids were little, they would always take them out and play with them. Now my nieces, when they come over for family parties, they love to take them out and play with them. So I think I'll keep those on this coffee table as long as I can. And blue and white, you'll see, is a big theme. I love blue and white, so wherever I can incorporate that in our house, I do, just with little clippings, rooting a tree here. This is my grandmom's cheffalera that over the years everyone's taken a little piece of and have it in their home. More shells that we got on our trip. These are little conch shells. And just some family photos over here. One of the features I love about our home is it is a very closed concept, the opposite of most homes now, but something that I love is every room downstairs has its own French door to close off each space. So I'm sure that was done for draft purposes a long time ago, but now it's just so great. We can come in here in our family room and shut the door and watch a movie, or during parties we can close off a door and kind of have conversations in different spaces. But when we moved in, each door was either painted or stained, so to just kind of make them cohesive, we had all of the doors painted this tricorn black, which I think really shows off the brass hardware and the glass knobs that are on every door. Our house is a Italianate Victorian style. So it was built in 1873, and it was the first house built actually on this street. Our town was founded in 1871 by 2 Philadelphia businessmen. They worked with the West Jersey Railroad system, and they founded this town in the hopes that it would be like a little summer or vacation country home for Philadelphians that needed a break from city life. So this house is very close to Mantua Creek, which has now been dammed and turned into small lakes. So we're just a few blocks away from the lake, where we can walk and get a break from the heat of the summer. And I imagine that's what they did during Victorian times with their parasols and their layers of clothes, to walk down and take a break from the everyday and the heat of the summer. So over the years, our house has been modified. We don't know a whole lot about it, but we're actually only the 7th owners of this house. So the name of the home is the Rebecca Buzby House. We have a little plaque outside I can show you. The house lived with the family for many generations and many decades. So it's kind of interesting that the house is so old, but we're really only the 7th people that have lived in this home. At some point, these giant front porches were added and these tall columns, and there was a cupola on the top, very much part of that Victorian Italianate style. That was removed. A kitchen was added down here in 1922, and a porch was put on top of that in the back of the house. So it was like a sleeping porch / sun porch. So it has been modified. I won't take you down to the basement because it's kind of creepy, but it has an original hearth in the basement and a well, and there was probably a dirt floor that was covered over with cement a while back. So we don't use it except for storage really, because it has low ceilings, but I love that we have that history here. So this is our dining room, and our kitchen is not actually big enough for the 5 of us to sit and share a meal. So we use this table and this dining room for every meal, pretty much every night. I'm a big proponent of eating family meals together, and I really push for it. Even if my kids have sports and activities, or my daughter has dance, if we have to meet and have dinner at 8 o'clock at night, I will push for it because I just love that we can all be together here. This table isn't very old. It's only about 20 years old. It's like an old Pottery Barn table, but the patina on it just gets better every year. And we do have a leaf that we put in, and we have parties, and we host Thanksgiving every year. So it can hold about 12 to 14 people, and we just love to gather around. These are actually dried lime lights. The front of our house has a huge hedge of lime lights. They're almost ready to pop, not quite, but when they do, they are beautiful, and I love to dry them and display them around the house. I have vases in almost every room. I think they get better with time. In the fall, they turn brown, and I'll even clip them and put them into my Christmas tree. So this is an ironstone vessel that I got at a yard sale. My neighbor was selling some amazing antiques, and so I had to get this, but I usually display fresh flowers or these dried lime lights. When I don't have something in the yard I can clip. So something that I love in this room are the corner built-ins. I have them filled with a lot of different things. My collections, as you can see, I love blue and white. I love copper. I collect, I have these amber glasses and different plates. These are actually from my grandparents. This is a set of transferware that they bought for us when we got engaged. They lived in a 55 and over community, and they had an estate sale where they found a complete service for 14. And so we use this every year at Thanksgiving, and it's really special to me. So I have this displayed in both of these corner cabinets. Inside the drawers and underneath, I have all of our linens and extra pieces from that same set. And over here, same thing, more blue and white. This was a great secondhand find. This blue flow that I love. It's an urn, and so sometimes I'll put a plant in it. At Christmas, I'll fill it up with pine cones and oranges that we like to put cloves in, and just have that as a centerpiece on the table. I love to collect brass and bamboo flatware, so that's all in here, and I change this out all the time. My kids think I'm crazy, but I'm constantly moving and changing things around, but it's just fun for me. I just like to do that. So then I can show you over here, we have a small bar set up. Right now we have just, some basic things for summer, but just to make a quick drink if we have friends over. But I'll have this mirror and our collection of blue and white displayed around the mirror right now. Some of these pieces were antiques. This was from my great aunt, this blue flow plate. I don't know if you can see it back there, but that is very, very old. The rest was, I think, just secondhand finds. These prints are really special. We went to Italy for our 20th wedding anniversary, and we went to Florence one night and stopped at a stationery store and found these really beautiful little cards, these note cards, and they're signed and numbered, and they have just beautiful illustrations of the Duomo and then all of the trees and beautiful fields that you would see in Tuscany. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to frame these because it was an inexpensive way to bring a little piece of our trip home, and that's a great tip. If you don't want to carry big pieces of art home from your travels, stop in a stationery store, grab a postcard or a note card, and then you can frame it when you get home as a memento. This chandelier is also around 20 years old. We got it when we got our table. It's an old Pottery Barn, vintage Pottery Barn chandelier. I do change out the shades for the season. So in the summer, I like to put on the rattan shades, but in the winter, I have black shades again that I'll switch them out too. And then over here, I have this old library table that I've kind of repurposed and used to hold all of my cookbooks and gardening books. So that's right off of the kitchen and easy to grab. I have just a clock that I found a few years back and some of our blue and white. Again, these are just different vases that I've collected. I love ferns. We have a lot of ferns outside on our porch, but I try to keep them alive as long as possible in our house. And so here's a little fern that I have in a blue and white secondhand pot. And let's head into the kitchen. Welcome to our kitchen. So our kitchen, we were told, was updated in 1922. There was a kitchen down in the basement, and so prior to that, like I said, with a hearth and everything and a well, but then around that time they brought everything up and made this kitchen area with this breakfast nook. So we think maybe late 90s, early 2000s, the owners that lived here made some major updates. They put in these beautiful walnut cabinetry, these cabinets that I love that go all the way up to the ceiling. It's funny, I recently posted on Instagram that I had gone into ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to turn my whole kitchen white, and then I hated it. So I thought, all right, I'm going to embrace the walnut and the real wood cabinets and even the brass hardware that's on them. That's all coming back now. And we just did a few minor updates to kind of make our kitchen a little bit more timeless and less 90s. So when we first moved in, there were cream Corian counters and ceramic tile that was kind of like a sponge painted, very 90s brown tile. The walls were painted a dark brown. I think there were even like coffee stencils or something like that, or wine stencils. So we had the whole kitchen repainted and all of the trim. Something I always get asked about are our paint colors. And just as an aside, our whole house pretty much is painted Natural Choice by Sherwin-Williams. And all of our trim is Benjamin Moore's Pure White. So we just kind of wanted a clean slate, a fresh, neutral color for our house. And the best part is it looks beautiful in every light. And really just kind of brought our kitchen back to a lighter, brighter place. So we, in 2020, over the pandemic, when everyone was home and bored and wanting to do house projects, we decided to cover up our backsplash that was also sponge painted ceramic tile with this beadboard. So my husband installed that, and then I painted it the Benjamin Moore Pure White to match all of our trim. We didn't replace our floor, we actually covered up the floor with this Mannington vinyl flooring. This is luxury vinyl that looks like slate, and it actually is really grouted. These are real grout lines that right before you came, I just grouted with my grout pen to make them look nice and clean again. And then we replaced the Corian with this quartz that looks like marble, but it's much more sturdy, I guess, for kids and practical for kids. And as I mentioned, I love to cook. So we're always in here, especially my daughter and I, making recipes, old family recipes. We're always cooking, and this is really the heart of our home. We're always in here. I love these large windows over our kitchen sink. I didn't want anything to block them or block the light, so I had these old curtains that I just hemmed to fit this exact size window. So every morning, one of my favorite things is to come in and brew my coffee, and then I open up the curtains like Belle from Beauty and the Beast to start my day. It sounds cheesy, but it's one of those little things that I love. It just kind of, it just brightens up the whole space, and I love that we still get all this natural light during the day without having anything heavy or blinds on the windows. This is our breakfast nook, and when we moved in, as I mentioned, it was dark sponge painted. I think it was like a maroon brown with coffee and wine stencils, very 90s and great at that time, but I just wanted to make the room feel a little bit more classic and timeless. So we brought the slate flooring into here and painted everything this neutral, natural choice. And I hung up these little cafe curtains, linen curtains with the black rods, and found this little table, pedestal table on Facebook Marketplace. Painted it black and then put these little chairs around it. We can't all sit in here, but if it's just one or two of my kids, maybe having a snack after school, or my daughter uses this a lot for her crafts. This is her craft cabinet, so it's just nice that she can bring her crafts over here. And I've painted and repainted this about 100 times, but it's just a great workhorse for our family. Something that I've added in the last couple of years is this basket rod. I love baskets. I love baskets. I love anything woven, as you can see. So over the years, I've collected baskets. Some of them are from my grandparents and my parents. And my husband found, this is like an old flagpole that I stained, and then we hung with these brass mounting brackets, and then I found these brass hooks online, and now I hang our baskets up there, which is super convenient when we want to put a basket of chips out or fruit, or go to the garden and collect some of our veggies. They exit to our backyard, but it's also our tiny little mudroom right off of the breakfast nook. So in here, these cabinets hold all of my kids' jackets and backpacks and shoes. This one holds all of my husband's grill supplies, and then there's a small cabinet for our coats and our shoes as well. And then there's a small powder room off of the mudroom, and then our back door that takes you out to our deck. I think my style is really traditional. I love symmetry. I love old textures and fabrics like leather, something that's timeless. I love houndstooth. I love classic things. I love brass. I love black, and you'll see that throughout the house. I use a lot of black for grounding, but really it's very collected. I'm a thrifter, so I love to shop secondhand. I love antiques, and I especially love thrifting antiques. So as we walk around today, you'll see it's very collected and it's very intentional. And so when we moved here, I knew that I didn't want to just fill this house with stuff and big box store things, rooms of furniture. I wanted to collect and build layers in this house over time. Okay, so here we are on the front porch. We spend a ton of time out here, 3 seasons actually. This is the plaque I was telling you about. Our house is named the Rebecca Buzby House. The Buzby family built this house back in 1873. So our historical society gifts a plaque for all of the old homes here in our town. So we're not exactly sure when this porch was added on. We think maybe 75 to 100 years ago. And at that time that this porch was added and the side porch, they put in these beautiful columns. And I just feel like it looks so stately when you pull up and see this big front porch. But we spend so much time out here. We entertain, we have family and friends come up. We have a farmer's market every Thursday in the summer. So we love to sit out here and listen to the music, watch people go by, often invite them up to have a drink with us or just to catch up. In the summertime, we have these limelight hydrangeas that get massive. They're actually really big this year, I think, with all the rain, but they're just about to pop. Next week, they'll probably be open. They provide us so much privacy in the summer. So when I come out here in the morning and have my coffee, I can stay in my PJs and no one really can see us, which is great. But then over time, they'll kind of dry and fall a little bit and turn brown in the winter. So I cut them all and then bring them in to use in the house. So out here I have a lot of different wicker that I've collected over the years, probably a mix of 3 different sets. Nothing is an exact set, but it all kind of just works together. We always hang ferns. I just love how they sway in the breeze. And I have these urns here by the front door. These were left here from previous owner, and they're really heavy wrought iron. And I'm actually so grateful that they left them because they're just so beautiful. I think we have quite a few. I think we have about 6 or 7 of these urns. So I fill them in the summer with ferns and impatiens that love shade when up here on the porch. But then at Christmas time, I'll also fill them with greens and holly and berries and some birchwood and put garland around the door. So they kind of just flank the doorway and they look really pretty. This is the shady side of the porch. We like to joke when it's really hot, we sit on this side. The other side is kind of sunny, so we have matchstick blinds to kind of filter the light. But again, more ferns, palms. I just kind of want it to look like an outside living room. And so every year I just try to add more plants, more wicker, and then these rugs that kind of ground the space and make it feel like a real living space. So if we make our way down the front steps, you can see I have a few more of those wrought iron planters that I like to fill and change with the seasons. Right now they're filled with geraniums and more ferns, and they're loving all this humidity. My hair, not so much. These urns we've just added here. They were left here with the house, but they were kind of hidden in the backyard in shrubs. So my husband and my sons pulled them out this year, and now I kind of like how they're flanked on both sides of our stairs here. So it's just like a nice welcome when you walk up. So when we moved in, a lot of the landscaping was already here and established, and I'm so grateful for that. We have some really beautiful plants like these lilac bushes. We have 3 or 4 of those that produce the most beautiful fragrant blooms in the spring. The boxwoods were here. We just basically had to clean everything up and maintain it. And luckily my husband loves to landscape. He loves to mow the lawn. He loves to work outside with his hands. So he's really the one that maintains all of our gardens and keeps them looking as beautiful as they do. So if we take a walk down our driveway, we'll head to the side porch. And just as a little aside, this bird bath was from my grandparents' garden, and when they passed, my family offered it to us. So I love that we have a little piece of them outside as well. So here's our side porch, and you can actually access the porch right up the steps or from our family room. That back door was another way that we can access it. So this is just a little space that we've turned into a private little restaurant. Just kidding, but we did put out a small table and chairs so that we can enjoy meals out here together. Sometimes my husband and I will have a date night out here. We'll light some candles, you know, grab the kids some pizza, and then we'll come out here and have a nice dinner together. It's kind of tucked away and private, so it's just a nice place to come and catch up. Out here, I basically just have a Cecil jute rug. That's great for outdoors. It can get wet. Again, more hanging ferns. And then I just got this beautiful block print tablecloth from Pacific and Rose online, the blue and white. So of course I love it and had to bring some of that outside. Right now we have it set with the table and chairs, obviously, but when we have parties, we like to use this area for drinks or for food. So we'll kind of move the table aside or bring out additional tables and have everything set up because it's nice and shady and covered. So guests can just come up the steps and, you know, grab what they need and then head out into the backyard. Welcome to our entry. So as you can see, it's a very long, narrow space. So I've tried to make the most of it. When we moved in, there was wall-to-wall floral wallpaper. It was beautiful, just very busy. It was like a maroon and green floral. Actually saved a piece of it. One of these days I'm going to frame it and hang it up here. But we decided to have that taken down just to kind of open it up a little bit in here. So I added a mirror, and then in the summer I like to display my hat collection. Some of these hats are from places that we've traveled, and some I've just found secondhand. I love straw, rattan, anything woven. You'll see that as a common theme throughout the house. All the walls are plaster in our house, so if you have an old house, you know they are no fun to drill into. So what we came up with is I found these brass sconces secondhand, and then I found these battery operated candles online and just put little black brass shades on top. So they're battery operated, like I said, they're set on a remote, and I usually have these on at night just to kind of add a little bit of warmth to the hallway. One of my favorite parts about our entry is this little radiator moment I have here. Like I said, it's small and very narrow, but I tried to make the most of this space. So while thrifting one day a few years ago, I came upon this little marble shelf with this brass detail. I really didn't know what it was at first. It was covered with old DVDs, but after just kind of looking at it, and trying to figure out what it was, I realized it was probably a shelf for a radiator. So I had nothing to measure. I had no idea how big this was, but I brought it home on a whim, and it fit. So it was meant to be. And then that helped me to create this little area here where we rest our keys, we put our mail. I have this little asparagus fern. Actually, I shouldn't say it's little because it's huge now. It loves it here, it loves the natural light, and it kind of has gotten wild and crazy. It's a little tricky to check your lipstick in there, but we use the big mirror now. But like I said, I try to change it up seasonally. Right now I just have, some coral in here. Like I said, I'll change this out at Christmas time, and I'll put, different things for each season. And then on the opposite side, I have a blue and white umbrella stand that I've filled with umbrellas, obviously, and some secondhand finds, some canes. And then I have this antique clock that I found that I thought looked really cute there. And then our stairwell here, I fell in love with this newel post, and just so beautiful. When we moved in, we had the steps painted tricorn black, and we left the risers white. And again, this was all covered in wallpaper. We had all of that removed and the plaster smoothed. And then I thought this would be a perfect spot to put all of our the photos of the kids. These are just some of my favorites through the years. I love black and white photography. Again, being a lifestyle photographer, I just love to capture those really authentic moments. My boys, my husband was squirting them with the hose one summer when they were little. These are my other two. They were just fresh out of the bath with their wet heads cracking each other up. We spend a lot of time at the shore, so I have some pictures of my kids. That's usually when we're all together and the happiest, so as you make your way up, you'll see lots of beach pictures here as well. A few years back, we decided that those black painted steps were just a little bit too slippery for our girl Stella, our pup, so we did a little DIY stair runner here. We just used this jute cotton blend that's really easy to work with and nice and thin, and my husband and I, right before Christmas, decided on a whim one day just to staple it in. So this was an easy project, and she doesn't slip anymore on the steps, and the kids with socked feet are much safer too. So it was a great project, and I feel like it adds a lot of warmth to the hallway now. Oh, I love our porches. We live pretty much 3 seasons of the year we spend out on our front porch. Fall, spring and summer. That's my favorite part of our house, even though it's the outside. I love this room. We spend so much time in this room together as a family. I love that we're raising our kids here, and every little layer that we add to it tells our story. All right, on our way up to the attic, I just wanted to stop and show you our landing here. We have a couple of things that I love, some photographs. On this side, I have an old picture of my grandmother and her sister. This was taken the night before their wedding. So they lived in South Philadelphia, and one of their traditions, I don't know if it was a tradition for that area or for Italians getting married, but my grandfather is actually out of view, but he's down here on the street serenading my grandmother the night before their wedding. And so one day I was at my grandparents' house looking through their album, and I saw this picture. And although my grandmother was a stunning bride, and I loved her in her dress, and I loved all of those pictures, this picture stood out to me. The joy on her face, her smile, and just, I thought it was so romantic that he would serenade her, down below on the street the night before they got married. These curtains are a traditional iCat print, which I really love, and we have the woven shades are throughout our entire house. That was one of the first things that we did, was put in these woven shades for privacy, and so that's in every room pretty much. This is one of our wedding photos. We got married right before Christmas on December 6th, so this is one of my favorites that we have hanging here as well. All right, let's head up to the attic office. Welcome to our attic office. So last year, my husband and I renovated this space. This is actually up on the 4th floor of our house. My husband works from home, and so he needed his own little space tucked away from everyone else where he could take his calls and work. So this, we were told, was originally the servants' quarters of our house. And so this is where the staff would stay and sleep, and they actually had their own stairwell on the exterior of the house where they would leave and come and go throughout the day. So what we did was, this room was probably refinished maybe 50 years ago. There was a lot of wallpaper, layers of wallpaper with oil-based paint on the top. So it was kind of a mess. It was lime green when we moved in. So what we did was we tried to make the most of the wallpaper seams, and we used trim work to kind of hide the seams that we couldn't spackle or repair, because as I've mentioned, plaster is just so tricky to work with. Once you start chipping away, it just kind of disintegrates. So we just came up with this idea to kind of create this wainscoting type of look using trim work. So painted everything again, natural choice, and it really just brightened everything up. The desk is a secondhand find, of course. I found this beautiful wood desk for my husband. The chair I found just online, and the brass lamp is also secondhand. All the picture frames in here are secondhand. My husband, as I mentioned, is a drummer, so he has an electric drum set up here, which is a lot quieter than his other drum set. So sometimes while he's working, he'll just turn and play. But we also have some of his drum set over here, and then his bongos on this side. This area behind you used to be the other part of the stairwell. So it was basically just like a sloped area that my kids use as a slide. And when we decided to refinish this, we didn't know what to do with this space. My husband had the idea of making built-ins to kind of utilize it, and also it gave him one flat solid wall, because as you can see, we don't really have any flat walls here. So that's what he did, and he used beadboard as a backing, and in here we just have more family photos, some of his books. These are antique trucks that were his great-grandparents, his great-grandfathers, I believe, and here's an old ship that was his great-grandfather's. And some of his awards that he's received over the years. This is my husband's grandfather's from the Korean War. I believe this was his flashlight and his compass. So I just wanted to incorporate some of these special items in his office since he's up here all the time. And then to the left, we have this little alcove. Wasn't really sure what to do with it. It was kind of wasted space, so I decided to search Facebook Marketplace to see if I could find an old chair, and came across this beautiful old worn leather chair, and now it's the perfect little chair to put in this corner and just take a rest. Sometimes I'll come up here and sit with him and talk. And I found this antique table that fit nicely with it. Another secondhand find, this little copper piggy bank. And again, my battery light trick. I found these sconces that I loved online. So I cut all the cords, and they're not run by actual electric. They are the rechargeable light bulbs that are screwed in there. So again, by remote, they can be turned on and off, which is really convenient for extra lighting. The curtains I made, this was fabric that I found secondhand from Ballard that I love, the stripe. So I just had to hem those. They're hanging with ring clips and the little leather tie backs that kind of tie in with the leather chair and desk chair. And then this gallery wall has kind of evolved over time. I framed this old American flag, and this horseshoe was actually a horseshoe that my husband found in the hearth of our creepy, scary basement. Before we moved in, he was cleaning out the basement, and he actually sent me a text in the middle of the night. It was probably 1 o'clock in the morning. He was here by himself cleaning, and he sent me a text with the horseshoe in his hand. And he said, "It's meant to be. We're meant to be in this house. I just found this horseshoe in the hearth of our basement." So I have it hanging because I just feel like it was a sign that we had made the right move. And it just kind of reminds me of my grandfather as well, who also loved horses. This horse was the Derby winner right at the same time that our house was built. So I hung that here. I thought that was kind of cool. And again, I just bringing into the nautical theme. You know, we have the Diver Down flag that my husband found, and just another beach scene. Found this brass plaque that says captain. So we joke that he's the captain up here. And then there was a light here that was just so awkward and hard to find, you know, a light that wasn't protruding off the wall because it's on an angle. So I actually decided to use a sauna light, and found that online, and that's worked great for when we come up the steps, and we can just flip the light on and it's not in the way. Started out as a first grade teacher back in 2001, and I taught first grade for 11 years. And then after I had our third child, I had 3 kids under 5. So I thought that was a good time to take a little break from teaching. That little break actually became a 7.5-year break, which was amazing. And we're so grateful because I was able to stay home with our kids at really pivotal years. And during that time, I actually started a part-time photography business. So I was a lifestyle photographer. During that time, I've kind of shied away from that in the past few years because I actually went back to teaching recently. So now I'm a reading teacher, and I get to focus on teaching what I absolutely love, which is reading, and for the little guys, K to 2. But I also am a hobbyist photographer still, and instead of photographing families, I've pretty much photographed our home for the last 9 years that we've lived here. And so I have an Instagram that I've been growing slowly or very organically. It's called Cherry Street Blossoms, and I named it after our street, Cherry Street, and just a fun little play on words there because I feel like we're kind of, you know, working on this house and really breathing new life into it and helping it blossom and grow with our family. Okay, here we are in the backyard. Right up the steps here, we have a deck off of the breakfast nook in the kitchen area. So we have a lot of our meals outside here together as a family. We love to grill. My husband loves to use his smoker and his grill. So we have those out right outside of our back door. This is where we sit and gather and have our meals. Over the years, we've added trees and landscaping so that we feel kind of closed off and private back here. We have more lilac bushes that fill with beautiful purple blossoms in the spring. And then this is actually a very mature crepe myrtle that in just a few weeks will be filled with big pink blossoms. It's really beautiful. So out here on the deck, I have pots of herbs and these topiaries that hopefully will begin to climb with these beautiful flowers. And I will take you out to our backyard where our garden is. So heading into the backyard, on the left here, when we moved in, there was absolutely nothing. It was just a picket fence. So over the years, we planted shrubs and trees to kind of give us some more privacy. This is one of our favorite trees, this weeping willow that has just kind of gone crazy this summer, but we love it out here. Over to the right, we have our fire pit area that we created during around 2020 during the pandemic, when we were just spending some more time outside together as a family. So my husband and I kind of created this little space with pea gravel and Adirondack chairs and this copper fire pit. This wrought iron bench, I don't know if you can see it tucked back in the lilacs, that was here. It wasn't actually in that spot. We had some friends help us move it there because it weighs about 900 pounds, but we've actually used that as part of the seating in our fire pit area. So we come out here as a family, especially in the fall and the winter. We have fires, we make s'mores, and it's just another little gathering spot for our kids. And then back here, we have a small garden. I actually just got some ripe tomatoes, so I picked some grape tomatoes, and this is our first year actually having success with cucumbers. So I've picked some veggies before you came over. My kids, my daughter especially, loves to help me grow veggies. And then off in the back here, we have our carriage house, which is converted to a 2-car garage now with an attached potting shed. And right above our garage is a hayloft. So as we were putting in the landscaping back here and digging holes for different trees and shrubs, one day my husband was digging and found another horseshoe from the hayloft. So we have that saved. Sometimes I'll put it out on the coffee table, but just another little artifact that we thought was really cool. Probably 100 years old at least, from this carriage house and this hayloft area. Home to me is a memory box. It's of course all of the stuff that you've collected over the years, you know, your mementos from vacations and travel and photographs, all of that. But home is also the smells of your family, you know, sharing a meal together. I love to cook, so I hope that my kids remember the smells of their favorite meals. Sounds, we're always playing music in our house, and I think that soundtrack builds over the years. And again, I hope my kids, you know, take that and hold those memories as the remembrance of home. All of those layers together, even the light. Being a photographer, I'm always paying attention to the light, and I feel like those, the way the sun streams in the house in the morning, or you know, while we're eating a meal together at night, I feel like those all come together to give the home a soul, to make it just be a place of connection and love, and yeah, I think that's it. Okay, Homeworthy, looks like my kids are home. We better get out of here. Thanks so much for coming by. See you later.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.